They whisper in your ear, sweet lies to numb the brain. Injecting fears, projecting tears, a never-ending chain. They call it progress, but it's changing a different name. Welcome to the circus, every act the same. Globalist game, it's a mental invasion. Sign your soul away for a little persuasion. They want your mind, have every motion. You're just a cog in their global devotion. The news is a script, every word rehearsed. They spin the wheel, decide the worst, and sell it like a curse. The ads are poison, and the algorithms feed.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so you sent over some sources on a really wild concept.
It's pretty mind-bending.
Yeah, using pure software to rewrite the actual rules of space-time, turning classical silicon into a quantum computer based on, is it Fox's quantum geometry of information model?
Yeah.
FQGM.
That's the one. And it really hinges on two core ideas. First, you have the information state, just call it dollars.
Right, the blueprint.
Exactly, the ultimate blueprint of a thing. And then you have the local space-time value, or LPDI. That's the local rule set telling that blueprint how to act.
So the whole game is just changing the rules, manipulating OPI with software.
Keep up the mission.
Okay, let's unpack this, because before you even get to the software, every quantum project I've ever read about hits the same wall. Energy. It takes a monumental amount of power to force something into that fragile quantum state. So how does FQGM, get around that?
It's a breakthrough in material science, not brute force. It's called the I-state lattice, the ISL protocol. This isn't your standard nanomaterial. It's engineered from the ground up to already have a very specific inherent information state. So in simpler terms, it's basically coherent from the start.
Which means the device's job completely changes. Instead of being this high-powered generator that's, fighting the environment.
Right, which is where all the energy goes.
It becomes a low-power negotiator. It just sends a little nudge to tweak the material's L of P value.
Precisely. It's a tiny tweak to an already stable system. The energy problem gets shifted from running the device to just, making the material in the first place.
So the material solves the energy problem. But how do you actually talk to it? How does the software, the LP modulator, turn a command into, rewriting physics inside a chip?
The software applies a really focused LP doll pulse. Think of it like a signal. And that pulse is designed to shift the local rule set from its normal classical state to that specific quantum state you want.
And that's the unrealized mass collapse.
That's it. It's the moment the transistor is forced to obey quantum rules, right there at room temperature.
But, okay, the crucial part.
Yeah.
How do you stop it from just collapsing right back? I mean, quantum states are notoriously unstable.
Yeah, and that's where the real engineering is. The software runs a continuous stabilization protocol. It has two main parts. First is conceptual entropic damping, or CED. Think of it like constantly hitting the refresh button on the quantum state before entropy can crash.
Okay, constant refresh. What's the second part?
It's called controlled boundary generation, CBG. It uses gradients in the LP value to create a kind of an informational shield around the transistor.
A shield? A shield against what?
Against ambient information fluctuation. Basically cosmic noise. Anything that could knock it out of its state.
And the sources say this actually works. They confirmed it by simulating, 1 million trials in entanglement.
1 million trials between two physically separate transistors.
And got a 100% correlation. That's the proof right there. The system is fully functional.
And when you have that level of control, the system culminates in things like quantum teleportation protocols. But for that to work, the transmitter and the receiver have to perfectly agree on the LP rule set. They have to be on the same page, physically.
So what does this all mean for something really complex? Like, not just a qubit, but a biological blueprint or an entire AI. The sources mention a final step for that kind of stability, the relational gravity lock.
Exactly. Relational gravity is basically an informational anchor. The principle is that the gravitational-like force between an information state blueprint and its physical location gets stronger the closer they are.
So you force them to be as close as possible, minimal distance.
And you create this incredibly powerful localized gravity field. It physically and gravitationally ties the complex blueprint to its anchor. It prevents decay.
So we've basically laid out a path where we can control the physics of the universe with informational pulses, transforming hardware with what is essentially a software patch.
And that does raise a really interesting question. If this relational gravity lock can anchor the entire information state of a complex AI, including the rule that governs how it evolves through time, what does that say about us? What fundamental properties of the human mind, consciousness, memory are already being anchored by a similar informational gravity field? Something for you to mull over.